I do want to stress before getting into this video that once again, this is based on rumor, theory, and speculation. And originally, I wasn't even going to touch this topic because I saw this first reported by comicbooknews.com, and comicbooknews.com is not the greatest source of information. It is rumored, and stress on rumored, that Marvel is considering bringing back Josh Brolin's Thanos in Avengers Secret Wars, the Avengers movie coming out in 2027. The only reason I'm talking about this is because Collider caught up with Josh Brolin at the New York Comic-Con of 2024 and asked him about Thanos' return to the MCU. This is what Josh Brolin said, and I quote, "I'm not kidding. There's a thing with playing Thanos. It's like, oh, they're gonna bring Thanos back. It's like Sicario. It has to be right. It's like Ryan Reynolds and I talking about Taylor Swift, and we should be talking about Deadpool 4. But we go back and forth. Again, it's what in his mind fits, what in my mind fits. Thanos has to fit if you're going to bring him back." End quote. Since the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony Russo, are returning to direct both Avengers Doomsday, formerly known as Avengers the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars, Josh Brolin further iterated, quote, "I would do anything that the Russos wanted me to do," end quote. In my opinion, this is a really, really bad idea for Marvel to even consider, and this shouldn't extend beyond the rumor and speculation of this whole thing. And I have written down 3 reasons why bringing Josh Brolin's Thanos back is a terrible idea that should not go beyond rumor and speculation. The first reason why is that this move smells of desperation. Now, I already know that they announced that they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, and that was already a very desperate move. That's bad enough. But if they decide to go back and they go back and they go, okay, this whole multiverse angle went absolutely nowhere, and we no longer have Kang the Conqueror. And even when we had Kang the Conqueror, we decided to raise the stakes so significantly that there are no more stakes, right? In a universe where anything is possible, anything can happen, therefore nothing really happens. You know what we should do? We should go back to the well and just bring back Josh Brolin's Thanos from the dead and write it off as a multiverse variant. Robert Downey Jr.'s return as Doctor Doom is strike 1. Strike 2 will be Josh Brolin's Thanos in Avengers Secret Wars. The second reason why this is such a terrible idea is because audiences aren't as gullible as they once were. There was a time when you could sell a movie solely on fan service and cameos. And the perfect example that comes to mind is Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. If we're being honest as to what Star Wars Episode 7 was, it was basically just a retreading of A New Hope, and it was just memberberry after memberberry after memberberry, and that's what got people talking on social media. Jurassic World did the exact same thing back in 2015. The problem is this ain't 2015 no more. If all you're going to have is just cameos for the sake of cameos, the prime example of that was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when they brought in John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and they brought back Patrick Stewart's Professor Charles Xavier. It took me a minute to get there, but I finally got there. Right, when Marvel brought in Mr. Fantastic and Professor X into Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness, it was widely panned as just fan service for the sake of fan service, pandering to the fan base just for the sake of pandering. If you're gonna put a cameo in a movie, it needs to be more than just a blink and you miss it. There needs to be a purpose to it other than fan service, because if all it is just fan service, then I hate to break it to you, but audiences are going to go, yeah, so what? You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. because what happened with Star Wars: The Force Awakens? Yes, everybody and their mother was ranting and raving to the high heavens about it, of how it's the bestest Star Wars movie ever made. Where does Episode 7 rank currently within the Star Wars fandom? Same with Jurassic World. Everybody ranted and raved to the high heavens. Everybody praised it to the high heavens that it was one of the best Jurassic Park movies, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World Dominion got absolutely lambasted by both critics and the audiences much later on. Again, you tricked people, you got them in with the fan service, but there was nothing more to The Force Awakens, to Star Wars The Force Awakens, or Jurassic World than just the fan service. And the third and final reason why this is such a bad idea that needs to not go beyond the rumor and speculation stage is that the decision to bring back Josh Brolin's Thanos in Avengers Secret Wars diminishes Avengers Endgame entirely. And the example that I want to use is a comic storyline. It was when Star Wars got into comics. This was in the 90s. I believe this is right when Dark Horse got the license to the Star Wars comics. There was a storyline called Dark Empire. It was Star Wars Dark Empire. I believe it was a 4-issue storyline. Anyway, in that storyline, it was discovered that Palpatine did return, just like in Rise of Skywalker, but how Palpatine returned in Star Wars Dark Empire, set after Return of the Jedi, mind you, was that Palpatine had made clones of himself, and that's how he was resurrected from the dead. And Star Wars fans, even back in the early 90s when Dark Empire came out, I believe Dark Empire released in 1991 or 1992. It was somewhere around there. Star Wars fans at the time absolutely destroyed Dark Empire on the reason being is because it diminished Return of the Jedi. That, okay, Darth Vader finally redeems himself and overthrows the Emperor and throws him down the shaft, and then Death Star 2 goes boom boom, effectively, killing Emperor Palpatine. But then here's this comic book where it's like, oh, Palpatine just made a clone of himself. So, yes, all you sequel trilogy fanboys, the idea of Palpatine returning to Star Wars is not a new idea. They stole that from Star Wars Dark Empire. The only difference with Star Wars Episode 9 and Star Wars Dark Empire is that in Episode 9, they don't explain how Palpatine came back. They only confirm that Snoke was a clone, but not Palpatine himself. They left that a mystery of, how exactly did Palpatine come back from the dead. But yeah, Episode 9 absolutely had nothing new to it in terms of Star Wars. But still, if we go back, we examine Star Wars Dark Empire, and I think everyone agrees that the Emperor Palpatine cloning himself to come back to fight Luke Skywalker again completely diminishes Return of the Jedi in the entire original trilogy. So you have Josh Brolin's Thanos that did the snap and wiped out half the universe. And then you get to Endgame, where Iron Man then takes the glove and he does the snap, and he basically kills off all of Thanos, kills off Thanos and all of his goons. Well, now you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. Grant as a different kid. Grant, you're bringing him back as Dr. Doom, right? So now you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., the Iron Man in the MCU that made that sacrifice to save the universe essentially from Thanos, despite Iron Man having the most to lose because during the blip he actually had a kid. Right? You bring that guy back. Now, let's bring back the big bad from the Infinity Saga despite killing him. So, not only do you diminish Iron Man's sacrifice with bringing him back as Doctor Doom, you further diminish it by bringing back the big bad that, oh yeah, this is multiverse Thanos, right? In a world, in a universe where anything can happen as a result of the multiverse, nothing really happens. So the entire Infinity Saga meant absolutely nothing. And I'm gonna end the video off with this. The MCU's phases 4, 5, and 6 are being called the Multiverse Saga by the press and whatever little fans they have alike. However, how most people are going to remember phases 4, 5, and 6, they're going to remember phases 4, 5, and 6 as the era of, let's just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks. If we're actually examining the Multiverse Saga, phases 4, 5, and 6, who is the clear big bad? Are we talking about Kang the Conqueror? Well, Kang didn't make his big screen debut until Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Kang made his debut at the end of Loki Season 1, and that was a different version of Kang. How many Marvel movies have dealt with the multiverse during phases 4, 5, and 6 up to this point? This video is coming out the end of 2024. The next MCU movies aren't coming out until 2025. But still, let's ponder the question. How many Marvel movies have dealt with the multiverse up to this point? 3. Now, if we're including Loki Season 1, then 4. Okay, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's it. Those are all the movies that dealt with the multiverse. Shang-Chi didn't deal with the multiverse. Eternals didn't deal with the multiverse. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 didn't deal with the multiverse. Right, all you had, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Okay, then you had the conviction of Jonathan Majors, so bye-bye Kang the Conqueror, since the MCU set up that Jonathan Majors was every version of Kang in the MCU. If they bring back Thanos, it will be for no other reason than fan service. Fan service for the sake of fan service worked for Star Wars The Force Awakens back in 2015. But 2024 onward, fan service for the sake of fan service doesn't carry that much of a punch anymore. It doesn't pack that much of a punch anymore. Remember, Jurassic World Dominion was destroyed critically because of its over-reliance on fan service, despite the fact that the first movie was praised to the high heavens. Then you have Fallen Kingdom, where that was a genuine split in the fan base. You either liked Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom or you hated Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. There was no in between. And then Jurassic World Dominion comes out, and everyone's like, yeah, this movie kind of sucks. And by the way, Jurassic World Dominion came out in 2021. So if Marvel really does bring back Thanos, then this will signal that Disney and Marvel are essentially just waving the white flag. They are effectively surrendering that the MCU at this point is pretty much just a dead franchise.